Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon.
Let's go. Good, good. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Sip and Talk. We had a few technical difficulties. I do apologize about that, but we're back. You guys, today is Thursday, almost the weekend. Remember what I tell everybody, hey, if you work on the weekend, thankfully you have a job. So today we have on a special guest, Brian Maxwell, their Knuckle Boxing, a lot of things. So I'm excited to hear his journey and hear what he got to tell us. Brian, thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fairly well. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and thank you for being patient with me with this technology issue, but we can't get upset about things we have no control over, right?
I know that's right.
All right. So Brian, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I'm Brian Maxwell. I'm a mixed martial artist, a boxer, a bare knuckle fighter, a Muay-Thai fighter, and a Brazilian jiu-jitsu grappler and a wrestler. I'm all kinds of things when it comes to the fight game.
That's amazing. That's like wowing. That means you got like you're pretty strong, huh?
I try to be at the best of my abilities.
Gotcha. So, Brian, how did you get started? How did you know that you wanted to become a boxer or, a jiu-jitsu? If I'm saying that right, I probably messed that up. How did you know you wanted to do that?
It's basically pretty simple. I got interested in it in college. I was in my dorm room with my roommates, and we had just got out of wrestling practice, and one of my roommates was like, I'm about to turn on the UFC fights, and I didn't know what the UFC was back then, so I didn't watch nothing that really involved with the UFC or nothing. I only watched boxing on TV a little bit every once in a while when Floyd Mayweather fought or somebody of that caliber fought, but he turned on the UFC fights, and Anderson Silva happened to be the main event, and that sparked my interest because I seen his swag and how he moved with this in this fight, and I was like, man, this is pretty interesting. And then after that, I was hooked. And the more and more I watched, the UFC fights, I started, you know, sometimes after wrestling practice, I'd get on YouTube and, look up what you have to do to be in the UFC, and what backgrounds a lot of those guys have. So wrestling being a great background, I was like, man, I think I'm interested in trying this one day. So so after I got out of college, 2 years went by, and I live life a little bit, because life after college, you're still trying to either get a good ass job or figure out what you want to do with yourself. You feel what I'm saying? So for about 2 years, I dabbled and dabbled in life. I worked and partied with my friends a lot and hung out with my friends a lot. And then it's about that time that, I found out I had a son on the way, and I was like, man, I gotta, you know, shoot, pass, and dribble right now. Time for the assist. I gotta do something with myself, and you know, fighting was what I wanted to try, and I just happened to be scrolling through the internet, and I seen that a local, well, it used to be a local promotion, was having a fight card like 2 hours away from here. So, I clicked on the website and was looking at a couple things, and I seen where you could sign up to be selected to fight on the fight card. So I was like, you know what? Here's my chances. Here's my green light. So I went ahead and signed up for it. And 2 hours later, the promoter called me and was like, "Hey, bud, I got a fight for you against a guy that's got a couple fights." And I was like, "Shit, I don't care. Let's do it." So I got my first fight lined up, and it was game time after that. I started looking for gyms to train at, and at first I couldn't find a gym to train at. So I was like, you know what, I could, I wrestled in high school and in college, so I can just go to, Planet Fitness and just get back in shape, start lifting and running and doing my cardio and stuff. So, in the midst of that, like 3 weeks into training for that fight, I met this guy at the gym. This may sound weird, but I think it was by faith. He had like a MMA shirt on with sponsors on the back, and I kind of noticed that from what the UFC guys were wearing. At first, I thought he was a UFC guy, and I said, "Oh shit, it's a UFC guy in here." I ain't never seen him on their roster before, but I ended up walking up to him and was like asking him, "Does he train mixed martial arts?" And he let me know that he was a pro fighter, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's cool as hell." And we exchanged social media stuff, and I hit him up, and he brought me to the boxing gym to where he was training at. So, I trained there for a couple weeks, and, you know, I, it wasn't really too much my thing. So I was like, I'd rather just use my wrestling and use whatever this little bit of basics of boxing that I learned from here in my fight. And luckily, I got to fight day and I knocked the guy out in 25 seconds.
Jeez. Hello, Melvin. Thank you for tuning in. So I have a question. You mentioned that, when you were on TV, you kind of did a little bit of research to kind of see what their background was. What did you find out, if you don't mind sharing? Like, what are some of the things that you found out for the ones that may be interested in, boxing or UFC, MMA, or what have you? What are some of the things that you found out by doing some research?
I definitely find out that you have to be in a gym and be around people that definitely know what they're talking about and know what they're doing. Because at first, like I said, I just, I met this guy and we went into a boxing gym, to a well-known boxing gym in this area called Boxing Gym. And, at the time, I was like paying like $25 a day to train. And at that time, it was kind of hard because I had a newborn son. So I'm, buying Pampers and formula almost every day, and, paying $25 a day to train somewhere,
Adds up.
especially, yeah, yeah, it adds up, especially when you ain't making that much money at that point in time in my life. But, it was a struggle, but, I got through it. But you definitely got to find the gym, be around good people, have awesome training partners, and, never get up and stick to the grind, because it's fun, but this stuff is not easy at all. It's definitely not easy.
But like, I know, you win some, you lose some. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I hate to ask you this, but how was that first time when, maybe someone got the best of you? How did you feel mentally? What did that do for you? Or that just made you come stronger?
The first time that I ever lost, I after my first fight, I end up I don't know how this promoter even found me, but he found me on Facebook, and it was either, yeah, he found me on Facebook, or he got the information from another promoter or something. But he found me, yeah, it was Facebook. He found me on Facebook and was like, "You want to fight in 2 weeks?" And I was like, "Shit, hell yeah!" Because that first fight, it was a breeze, 25-second knockout. So I didn't have any injuries. I wasn't sore, and I was still in good shape. I didn't like after that first fight. I didn't go back to just chilling and taking time out. I wanted more. But within that second fight, the week of the fight, I had got sick and I caught the flu.
Mhm.
And I'm not the type of person to pull out of a fight or don't give up on something or call out per se. And I was like, man, I got the flu. I don't know if I should still do this fight. And then the competitiveness in me was like, you know what, you got the flu. Oh well, suck it up. We're gonna fight. So, I end up driving 2.5 hours away. And, I got there. I felt like crap the whole ride there. I felt like crap weighing in. I felt like crap after I ate. And I was like, I had that second thought in the back of my head, man, we might as well just go ahead and quit. Then I told myself again, no, we're not going to quit. We're just going to go in there. This should, me thinking at that point in time, this should be easy. Go in there, beat them up real quick, get this dub. Well, that didn't happen. Like, soon as I got literally in the cage, like I don't know what it was, but I could not breathe for shit. Like it's like I lost all my air in my lungs and everything. But no, I continued to fight. It was a good, decent little fight, and then I got caught. I got I got clipped on my chin, and I fell, and that was it out of me. I was done. But I got up within 2 seconds, and they called the fight, and I'm not gonna say the guy got the best of me, but I end up losing that fight, and I really can't make no excuse that I had the flu, but I did have the flu, and it is what it is at that point. I'm still here today, still
That's
fighting, and that guy who got the best of me that night, it hasn't fought in years.
So do you think, like, and God forbid, you get ill again, but would you listen to your body the next time and just not fight, pull out if you had to, or you still gonna go in that ring?
Nah, bump that. I would go in there if I was on my deathbed in a hospital bed. I'd
I'm
I'd I'd
thinking
find a way.
I would pull out. You say you would go in?
Yeah, I'd find a way to make myself presentable and not look sick, and go in there like this is. I tell the people around me, and I also tell my son that this is what I've been put here to do, is fight. Once I got into, I've been an athlete all my life. I've played sports just about my whole life, and I felt like combat sports was my thing. You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said, if I got sick and I was on my deathbed, I would find my way up out that hospital, even on my deathbed, make myself presentable, and head to the fight. I wouldn't even tell nobody I was on my deathbed. I'd still show up.
Dedicated. How old is your son, if you don't mind me asking?
My son is 10 years old, going on 25, but he'll
I,
be 11. He'll be 11 in July.
is he following your footsteps? Is that something he do?
He wants to. He's actually, what time is it? He's actually at wrestling practice right now.
That's
So,
cool.
he's super interested in it. And, he was actually supposed to have his very first kickboxing fight like 2 months ago. And, his opponent backed out because of some personal reasons. But yeah, it's what he wants to do. I don't really want him to do it, but, I
Yeah,
got to support him
yeah,
in everything that he does. But yeah.
I think it's hard for a parent to actually, even though, we may do it, but to actually see your child out there, and stuff, that has to be hard. Like, how did people watch you, like, ugh, I don't even like to watch stuff like that on TV. I don't, oh, goodness.
I mean, coming from my perspective, even though I don't want him to do it, but he wants to do it. It's fun because I like how competitive he is, because sometimes I'll look at his face at wrestling practice, because I'm one of his coaches too at wrestling practice, and like the see him scrapping and being competitive, it's like it's awesome, because it reminds me of me at that, wishing that I was able to be able to scrap and stuff like that at that early age, because I didn't really get to start doing really combat sports or anything like with martial arts or wrestling until I was like 13. So yeah, like it's wonderful. But with him fighting, I like the coaching standpoint also. Like when I'm done and over, everything's done and over with. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna coach full time
Right.
and just live life, because that's what I like to do. Other
Absolutely.
other than fighting.
Other than fighting, you only get one life. So live life, You're already doing your passion, so you
Hmm.
enjoy life, while you're at it. So,
Yeah, and
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's something that like I said, when it's said and done, it's something that I'm not going to say I have to do, but I'm going to say that I'm going to have to do, because without this sport or being in sports in general, I don't know what I would do with myself.
And like you said, you feel like you were placed here to do it. So it's not really a job or anything if that's something you really, really like to do.
Hmm.
So something I ask all the guests that come on, for like the little Bryans out there, or even your son, how would you motivate them to move forward in this journey if they were a little skeptical? They were kind of scared, maybe scared of the hits, the kicks, I don't know, just to go out there. How would you motivate them to do something that they want to do? But with
I, I mean, first and foremost, this is it's fun, but it's not fun. And a lot of people are skeptical when they first start. I was skeptical because watching I've never been kicked before I started. I've never been choked out either. But literally, like I said earlier, my very first fight, like my nerves were through the freaking roof. It was like I was wrestling all over again, and my nerves were shot. I was sitting there walking. I didn't even sit down the whole day. I walked around, you know, like literally the whole day, when I should have just been resting. Like I walked around. Like I didn't sit down until literally after my fight, on the car ride home. Like, but the motivation is, man, if you really, really want to do it, even though it's skeptical, you might be scared, try it. You got one life to live. You can never be afraid to try something. You know, like it can be a good experience or it can be a bad experience. But you will never know until you try it. Like I tell my son all the time, I don't care if you go out there and wrestle and lose. I don't care if you go out there and win. You got the experience. You got to try it. You done what you wanted to do. You feel what I'm saying? And it's motivating. Like last weekend, he won his very first tournament. He's been to two tournaments. Well, last weekend was his third tournament. His first tournament, he got smacked with some adversity. It was his very first tournament, and he went to the state tournament, and that's like the biggest thing here in Virginia. And he didn't win a single match. Understandable. Second tournament, he pushed a little bit harder in practice, and he made the matches harder for somebody to beat him, but he still lost. And then last weekend, he actually won his first tournament. He beat a kid 6-4, and then he pinned another kid, and he had an overall great tournament last weekend, and he got first place. So now he's just been walking around with his little chest poked out this week and talking junk, and yeah, he's definitely motivated right now, and he's actually got a wrestling tournament this weekend that he's doing too. So
okay.
that's gonna be fun.
Kudos to him. That's good to know, and good that a lot of people like, okay, I lost, I want to give up, and things of that sort. So let me ask you, Brian, how do you prepare? how do you prepare for a fight night? Like, what do you do to get yourself, ready?
I when the promoters, hit me up and or the promotion that I'm actually signed to, Roanoke Fighting Championships, or a different promotion hits me up, hopefully that they hit me up in ample time and give me 6 to 8 weeks to get ready for the fight. So within that 6 to 8 weeks, I change my diet. I go from eating junk food and drinking sodas to cutting that off completely and go. First things first, I change my diet
Okay.
right then and there. The first week is always the hardest because I'm weaning myself off the junk food and starting to drink more water and my lemonades and my teas and stuff to basically flush my body out and get my body in fight shape. I stay in shape all the time, but I don't stay, not gonna say fight shape, but I stay in
Gotcha.
shape all the time. It's just when I usually walk around at 220 pounds and I have to cut to 185 pounds. So first things first, like I said, it's always changing my diet. And then, I'll sit down with one of my coaches and we'll talk about a game plan, what we're going to work on this fight camp. And, I give them the name of my opponent. And, after that, it's game time. I spend, like I said, 6 to 8 weeks of doing nothing but training, either 6 to 7 days a week, or I might take 2 days off during the week to relax, to let my body heal after a hard week, or I'll just, stay on the grind. Like I literally constantly training regardless.
Wow.
And yeah, whether I'm just doing straight boxing, I'll work on my boxing and of course my cardio and all that good stuff. But if I'm doing MMA, I'm working on my jiu-jitsu, my wrestling, of course my boxing and my Muay Thai and everything that goes along with that. And it's like I said, this game, it's fun, but it's not fun because you got to put in a lot of work.
Imagine. Have you ever had to actually compete against, because being in the industry, I'm pretty sure you run across people, you probably, y'all get along. I don't know. But have you ever had a opponent that you were actually cool with, that y'all actually liked each other, or it doesn't matter? Like once it's time, it's time.
My thing is I do not like no opponents. Once I find out who my opponent is, if we have talked in the past or came across each other or something at the fights or something, once I get your name in the contract and the promoter tells me who I'm fighting, I don't like you. I don't like you on social media. I don't like you in person. I don't like you at weigh-ins. I don't like you on fight day. I don't like you until the fight is over and we shake hands, if that, you feel what I'm saying? Because especially when I first started fighting, I didn't like nobody at all. I didn't even like my training partners because at first I didn't know them because I was new to the area that I live in. I didn't know nobody in the mixed martial arts game, so I was like, I am who I am. I don't like y'all. I don't know y'all. I'm going to try to break you at practice or at training, and I don't fuck with y'all like that. So every time I see you, it's we're scrapping. You feel what I'm saying? And I end up I end up building healthy relationships with those guys once I got to know them. But when it comes to opponents, I do not like opponents. The time I get your name until the end of the fight, I don't like you. We have beef. We got something to settle. We got to scrap it out. It's like living with having a bunch of brothers. Y'all don't like each other, but y'all love each other at the same time, and y'all are always scrapping, but y'all don't like each other until you scrap. You feel what I'm saying?
That was a good question, Freemo. Pound it back because I didn't expect that response. So that's funny though. I thought you were gonna say, yeah, we're cool. We'll chop it up. But no, once you get that name, that's it. You ready.
Yeah, man. I actually had this guy one time. Uh, it was probably one of my biggest MMA fights ever because he fought on a very super big promotion, Bellator MMA, and I respected the guy, and at one point in time here in Virginia, him and me were probably the most two feared 185 fighters in the whole state because I had most titles on this side of Virginia, and he had a couple titles for a promotion that I wanted to fight for, but they would never accept the fight because I posed a threat, and he's a hometown guy there. So of course, they wanted him to be champion. But I end up getting into the mode of my mode of when I first started fighting. I don't like nobody. I don't like him, even though I got respect for him. I don't like him. So with me and one of my training partners, he had a fight on that promotion. So at the event, I carried it out. I ended up calling the guy out at the event and started a little bit of a beef, and then it blew over and nobody talked about it. And then, my local promotion was like, here's a list of names. Who do you want to fight? And I was like, man, I don't like to pick and choose. So yeah, you tell me who you want me to fight. And his name came up and I was like, yeah, bet. I'll fight him. We got beef. I don't like him. I'm not going to respect him or like him again until after the fight. So yeah.
Wow.
I end up winning that fight in 58 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's amazing. So, Brian, is there anything, so I don't want to hold you too long, but is there anything that you would like to put out there in the universe that we did not speak about this evening?
I mean, you can keep asking me questions. I do this all the time. I'm down for anything when it comes to questions. You feel what I'm saying? But the universe, basically knows a lot about me now more than they did before, just for the simple fact that, I ended up doing something that was a dream and it ended up happening. I fought on a Floyd Mayweather card and I ended up fighting my idol, Chad Ochocinco Johnson, on the same night, which was super crazy, but mad fun. And, that for the people that don't know, but actually do know, that's something that's one of my biggest accomplishments so far. And, I'm still reaping the benefits and all the good stuff from that. So yeah. So anything else you got to ask me, I'm down to answer it.
So when you first seen, you were watching it on TV, like, do you ever relive that moment? Like, I like the what ifs, but have you ever thought about, like, what if you didn't pursue it? What if you didn't watch it? What if you wasn't there? Because I feel like everything happens for a reason. But do you ever go back and question it? Like, what would you be doing if you said you don't know? Like, if you would have been sitting there and seen this on TV.
Man, I honestly, like, I do think about it because, at that point in time when I first started watching it, I was a college student. I was a college wrestler. I had no worries in the world. I didn't know. I was in college to study mechanical engineering and sports therapy. And I didn't really know if I really wanted to do that. That was just something that I just signed up for because it was interesting. And, like I said, when I first started watching the fighting and stuff, like I was at the point where I didn't know if I really wanted to do what I was in college for, if I wanted to wrestle for the rest of my life. I didn't know what to do. You feel what I'm saying? But when I got out of college, I still didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. So, like you said, everything happens for a reason, and just so happens, everything, fell into place, and here we are 10 years later, and I'm
Later.
still going at it, and with plenty of life left in my body to do it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, and you don't have to answer this question, but if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 34 years old, even
Oh,
though nobody ever believes me. Like, my mom still doesn't believe me to this day that I'm 34, and she's my mom. Like, it's crazy.
that's what I want to ask because, wow, to know that you're still in shape, you're still doing it. Our kids, because my youngest is 13, they think we're just so old. You see what I'm
Right?
saying? Like, to be able to still be out there moving like the young ones. Have you had to fight someone that's actually way younger than you?
Actually, no.
No. So
Nobody
does
that's been like way younger than me. Maybe just a couple years younger, and I fought guys older than me, but I haven't fought nobody no less than maybe 4 or 5 years younger than me
okay. I was
at
wondering.
any given time.
Okay. Well, I really enjoyed you today, Brian. I really, really did. Thanks for answering all of these questions I had. It's very intriguing in the industry that you're in. So I appreciate you coming on Let's Sip and Talk with Freema. So you enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great day, a great weekend, and kudos to you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You want
Um, anytime you want to have me on again, just let me know, and I'm down for it.
Oh, I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna make sure if Alan don't hear this, I'm gonna make sure he know Brian said he'll come on anytime.
Yeah, just let me know something. We can schedule something, and we can lock it in and get it done.
Definitely. And Virginia's not that far from me. I'm in South Carolina, so hey, you never know. I might can come catch a fight one day or something. I don't know. We have to figure it out.
Yeah, I fight all over the place. I'm usually in Florida fighting, and or wherever they send me. but
Okay.
mainly I'm usually always in Florida fighting.
Oh, I do have one more quick question. So I
Yes,
know
ma'am.
if the promoter contact you, you hope to have like 6 to 8 weeks. Have they ever contacted you when you didn't have that long, like maybe like 2 weeks, or hey, we want you out here in a week? And would you do it if you?
I actually did last year for the first time in my pro career. Last year in February, I was chilling, relaxing, in the gym as always, and I got an offer for my pro boxing debut on 2 weeks' notice.
Hmm.
And I was like, I had to think about it. I did have to think about it at first because, like I said, I'm not the type of person to really take short notice fights like that, especially being a professional. And I had to cut cut a significant amount of weight in 2 weeks to even, make the weight for the fight. And it happened. And I said, you know what, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So
Oh,
I was already, on it. So all I had to do was really cut the weight. So I took it on 2 weeks notice, and I
yeah.
would do it. I would do it again, as long as the money right and the timing's right. You feel what I'm saying?
Got you. So have you? I know you mentioned you had to cut weight, and I don't even know if this is possible. But have you ever had to gain weight to be in the right weight range for one of the opponents? Is that
I actually had to do that my my seventh or eighth amateur fight because I was fighting at 205 at that point in time. I had cut my weight, and my opponent, he was an ex-professional, ex-semi-pro football player, and he was a big ass dude. And the first time we fought, he made weight, but the second time he had some health problems and couldn't make the weight. So the weight limit was 206.1, and he was weighing still like 225 pounds. So they told me in order to be able to fight, I had to gain at least 10 more pounds to be classified as a heavyweight. So basically what I did in between, weighing in and fight time, I literally went to Subway. I ate 3 meatball subs, and I drank a gallon of water, and that was my 10 pounds right there. And I weighed in with all my clothes on, and I actually had to fight at heavyweight for a title. We had to fight for a title. So yeah, that was crazy because I had to gain that weight, and I was like, so I'm glad there was time for the that food coma to basically wear off between weigh-ins and the fight because I was
hmm,
full as hell from having
fast?
to do all that to even make that weight.
And all this was in one setting? Like, okay, I'm going to Subway and I'm eating 3 meatball subs.
Yeah, that was in one setting because we found out day of fight because I didn't see him at weigh-ins because the weigh-ins was the day before, and I stepped on a scale, ended up weighing like 204, and we waited around for him to show up, and I was like, oh man, my first time fighting in my hometown, and my opponent doesn't show up. Well, there goes all the tickets that I sold. Here goes my fight.
Yeah.
And, so we left, and, the promoter called me and told me, my opponent's still going to fight. But it was kind of shysty when we got there the second day for fight day. That's when they told me that. And I was like, ah, man, some bull stuff. So, I did what I had to do just because I'm competitive, and it was my hometown. Like I was literally fighting in the gym that I spent my whole high school wrestling career in wrestling and winning or losing in front of my hometown crowd. So I ended up beating that guy in like, I think it was a minute and 25 seconds for the second time that we fought. So, I was gracious for it and I was happy about it, even though I had to gain that weight.
Right. You probably don't ever want to see another meatball sub.
Matter of fact, actually, I probably haven't eaten one, maybe but one or two since then. And that's been like 7, 8 years ago.
Wow. I love your drive. I really do. Your dedication. April said, looking for big things to come. When is the next fight?
Definitely got some things on the horizon. My next fight will probably be either in July, maybe August, but possibly in June. I'm actually got contacted by the promotion that I'm signed to, that I'm going to be going fighting on the other promotion that's part of that promotion, and I'm going to be fighting on that at some point, and I think it's going to be in July or August. But I also got a fight offer to possibly maybe fight on the Jake Paul fight card this summer in August. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. So
Oh,
so
okay.
got a lot of big things coming, and I got some NFT stuff that's going to be dropping here soon with one of my sponsors that I work with, and a lot of big things coming this year. I just had my very first fight of the year,
Love it. Love it.
and the year's not over yet, and there's
That's,
still more things to come. So we're on a decent path to finish out 2022 strong.
yep. Finish it up strong. Finish up strong. I'm glad to have met you. I really appreciate it. And yes, April, I agree. I'm ready to watch as well. Can't wait. It's gonna be probably hard to watch, but hey, I'm gonna get my support if I. Well, Brian, I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. We will definitely be in touch. We definitely would have to do, another segment sometime in the future. So we'll definitely keep in touch. And as we always say on Let's Sip and Talk with Freema, peace and love. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Brian.
You're welcome.